Last night I went to bed really early. I was just all tuckered out, so I said, "Goodbye, moon," and I snuggled on into bed to catch some Z's. Little did I know that while I slumbered, we'd all been paid a visit by someone very special. And I'm not talking about Santa Claus, but I am talking about another man in a red shirt. Nikocado Avocado. I woke up this morning in a different timeline. I think we shifted back to the Berenstain Bears universe and left the Berenstain Bears universe behind.
2 steps ahead. I am always 2 steps ahead. This has been the greatest social experiment for my entire life. So I am the villain because I've made myself one.
This moment right here is this generation's I Am Your Father. This is up there with the Darth Vader identity reveal. Perhaps one of the most unexpected things I've seen in quite some time. When I was watching this, I let out an audible whoa. Like, I couldn't help myself. My body responded without any other part of me having say-so over it. My body itself, my soul, was shocked when he took the mask off there. So he gives like a villain monologue that sounds like it's out of the Fallout universe, talking about how he's 2 steps ahead because he had played the villain for so long now.
Today I woke up from a very long dream. And I also woke up having lost 250 pounds off of my body. Yet just yesterday, people were calling me fat and sick and boring.
Losing 250 pounds is an unbelievable feat that's nothing shy of extraordinary. And he mentions how even yesterday, YouTubers and many other people were calling him sad, fat, depressing, sick, and all of that, and still making videos about him, even while he secretly, over the course of 2 years, had been losing all of that weight. And all the videos that people were talking about were actually videos that Nikocado had filmed 2 years prior and kept drip feeding to the community to keep them either entertained or keep himself fanning the flames of drama for people to latch on to. It is actually very fascinating. Now, some of you might recall about 4 years ago, Nikocado Avocado and myself had a tiny bit of beef. I'm talking like a Salisbury steak level of beef between us, and we had a bit of a tinkle tussle back and forth pissing contest, and boo! Fact check jump scare. I wanted to double check when all of that took place, so I looked at it. It turns out it was 2021 AD. It was late September, so it's coming up on 3 years, not 4. I was a little off on that. Time moves very weird now. I don't know what happened, but time is moving at a different speed than it used to. After all that drama, I had actually kept up with Nikocado Avocado, occasionally just tuning in to check and see what's going on. I made a video like a year ago on a piece of content that Nick dropped where he actually did talk about a weight loss journey that he was going on, and I've kind of just been cheering him on from the sidelines ever since then, just hoping that he'd follow through on that and just to see where it all goes. So to see this come up was not only extremely surprising, just given how much weight he had lost in a relatively short period of time. I know to a lot of people 2 years, like on the internet terms, that's like ancient history. Things that happened 2 years ago, that might as well be the fucking void century that no one remembers. But like speaking realistically, 2 years to lose 250 pounds, that's a speed run. Those are gold splits.
I haven't made a video for like 2 years, and this is where I'm posting now on this channel. So I hope you consider subscribing if you want. I'm actually posting more next week, so yeah, that would mean a lot to me.
On his second channel, he mentions that it's been 2 years since he's made a video, so you can piece little breadcrumbs together in your head and follow this path here, connecting the dots. He has released videos on all of his channels over the course of 2 years. Quite a few of them. Not to the same frequency that he used to, but he still had a ton of videos that he's releasing over the last 2 years. Videos that were posted 2 weeks ago, or even as recent as 5 days ago, where he is that same weight, were all apparently recorded years ago. And it's not like it's CGI and it's not AI generated content. Nick actually just had a crazy backlog, like the Library of Alexandria for mukbangs, and he just kept going to the vault to upload some of that old pre-recorded content as if it was new, and people were none the wiser. I even went through these two videos here in particular just to see if I could find like a date somewhere on like his phone or when he went to the Heart Attack Grill, like maybe like a calendar sticking on a wall, but I didn't see anything. Maybe I missed it. I did kind of go through it like 2x speed, so maybe it like flashed by really quick and I just didn't see it. But I do believe him that these were recorded years ago, because that's the only logical explanation for how he is 250 pounds down right now, yet 5 days ago he has a video at the Heart Attack Grill where he's still like 400 pounds or whatever it was. Dude was playing chess while the rest of us were playing checkers. He played us like a goddamn violin, and Nick loves the violin. Many of you might not remember this from the Nick Expanded Universe, the lore, but he was actually an incredible violin player. He was more decorated than like Captain America in terms of accolades when it came to this. Like in his field of violin, he was a very well-regarded, talented player. And he came out here and just fucking Gangnam styled on us. He really did play us like a sweet melody on that instrument.
It was a long 8 years, wasn't it? It was a long 8 years. And I didn't think that it would have gone this long, but it did. And it was like a bad dream that, yeah, it was like a really bad dream that we were waiting for it to be over. And it's over. It was just a dream.
For a long time, Nick became synonymous with breakdowns on camera. Nick and breakdown went together like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and that's something people talked about a lot, but then always talked about how it was always fake for views and drama and controversy. I have always somewhat believed that there was always an element of truth to some of the things Nick was saying. I really do believe that Nick was miserable with what he was doing, but felt like he had to keep doing it because that was his source of income. That was his livelihood. And he was probably very afraid to just stop doing that. Which is completely understandable, because if people are subscribing to watch you eat yourself to death and you stop doing that, they might leave. And now you've got your ass in your asshole and no money being generated anymore because the audience left from you not doing the content they wanted you to be doing. And I really do feel like he felt like he was a prisoner to that for a while. I'm not trying to be an armchair psychologist here, it's just I've watched a lot of Nick's content and it really does feel like there is a lot of truth to some of the things he has said during these moments. And the way he talks about it here, calling it a bad dream, isn't exactly a glowing review of that time. You know, if someone said that to me, like, hey Charles, I know we spent 8 years together, but it's kind of just like a bad dream I'm done with, I wouldn't exactly be smiling from ear to ear about that. But now Nick has made some big changes, clearly, and his audience is extremely supportive. They are very receptive to this, cheering him on in a big way, pumping their fist and celebrating this. The video on his main channel about it is exploding. The video on his second channel is exploding. He's made 2 videos and both are popping the fuck off. His community is showing nothing but love and oodles of support for this. And it's what people have said for a long time, that if Nick actually did go through this weight loss journey, it'd probably be extremely good for him. Like, not only health-wise, but like in terms of his channels and like his community. It's inspirational. Like, people would love to see that, and I think it's clearly showing here. And it's not like Nick has to stop doing mukbangs just because he loses a lot of weight. And it seems like he is going to continue to do mukbangs because he loves doing them.
We were all just dreaming. Cheers. And I love being a mukbanger. I love food. I like eating food. And I like being here. So let me know what you think.
Just because he's lost 250 pounds doesn't mean that he's washed and you need to hang the jersey in the rafters and retire his jersey number. You know, like, he can still keep doing mukbangs the same way he was before, but now in a healthier place. And like I said last time when he had lost, I think it was like 89 pounds at the time, he seems happier. You know, like, I'm not his therapist. I don't know Nick personally, but just from what comes across in the content, he seems happier at lower weights. Like, in the content where he weighs less, he actually just seems like a happier person. At least that's the impression I get watching it. So it's really something to celebrate here with what Nick has been able to accomplish. And I really am happy to see that the reception to it has been overwhelmingly positive. It is incredible work. This is an effort that is extremely impressive. I'm also really curious and excited to see what Nick does going forward. If he's going to continue to do exclusively mukbangs, or maybe he's going to talk about this weight loss journey that he secretly went on for a long period of time. I'd be really interested to see what he did to lose all of that weight so quickly. I think that'd be really interesting content if he talked about it, or showcased maybe some of the things he was doing for cardio, or if he was doing weight training, what that looked like. I think it'd be really good bangers if he made content around that as well, while still of course having mukbang be the bread and butter. I think it'd be cool now if he would supplement it with things about this weight loss journey. The violin, I think, would be cool to bring back, because if you look at Nick's older videos, he really is like a fucking wizard with that instrument. I think there's a lot of potential and a lot of possibility with where Nick currently is, and it's nothing but positives here. So I wanted to talk about it a little bit, and yeah, that's it. So yeah. There's been a lot of horrible stuff happening over the last week or so in particular. Even if you're not someone that's jacked into the mainframe, hyper-focused on cyberspace news updates or anything like that, you've probably still seen a lot of the stinky stuff that's been going on, because it's been really bad. So I wanted this video to try and just be uplifting, some positive news here. Spray a little bit of Febreze, put some deodorant on to mask the odor for a bit, and just give you something to smile about. And that mission failed almost instantly. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, but I couldn't take that first step. I went looking for positive news stories, and all I found was more agony and despair, doom and gloom and death. It's like smiling is illegal right now. Every single day there's something fucking horrible happening. It's baffling how common the worst things imaginable are happening on a daily basis. But I was able to unearth two very good, wholesome stories, and it was like finding the Infinity Stones. This was difficult. I felt like Indiana Jones having to go exploring and finding these treasures, but there are two very wholesome stories that have me grinning from ear to ear that I'd like to share with you today. The first story is very interesting because it involves someone that I've talked about before on the channel. In fact, the two of us used to have some beef. Beef so raw that you wouldn't see him eating it during one of his mukbangs. I'm talking about Nikocado Avocado. Over a year ago, the two of us were feuding, going back and forth on the playground, having a bit of a tiff. And now I've recently learned that Nikocado Avocado has been actively losing weight. He posted a new video kind of briefly going over how much weight he's lost, which he claims is roughly around 89 pounds, and I think that is incredible. The weight announcement does come during a pizza mukbang, but 89 pounds down and there's a noticeable difference, he's fucking earned the right to splurge like that. I think that is fantastic. The whole genesis of our controversy stemmed from me finding it sad that he was literally eating himself to death and even making jokes about very morbid stuff revolving around the way he was eating for content. And I've always maintained that it would be amazing to see him start losing the weight. And now to see him actually start taking steps down that path, I think that's fantastic. And I have nothing but amazing things to say about that, and a huge round of applause, because there's a lot of hard work that goes into this, especially for the way he's been eating for so long. And to see him lose that much weight in a pretty short period of time, that's nothing shy of incredible work. So I think this is a very moving story. I hope he continues to do this. His community is encouraging him. His community has done a real 180, because when I first made that video on him and the whole Nikocado Avocado rabbit hole, his community used to encourage him to continue to eat more. They wanted to see him really balloon up as quickly as possible, as if it was like a fucking speed run. And now, fast forward, a year and some change later, they seem to really be cheering him on for a healthier lifestyle and wanting to see him happier. And he really does seem happier in this video, where he talks about his weight loss, as well as just generally joking and more bubbly than I remembered him being last year. So it just really seems like an all-around positive thing, and I'm wishing him nothing but the best of luck going forward. And now the next happy story I'd like to share with you all teaches us the same lessons that anime has about never giving up. Perseverance in the face of overwhelming odds and adversity. It involves a streamer named H2P Gusio, or Jusio, I'm sorry if I fucked your name up. And this brave warrior did what no mortal should do. he took the Ogdo Bogdo challenge, which is a challenge more detrimental to your health than the Tide Pod challenge, and it's one that I myself am a survivor of as well. If you recognize the name Ogdo Bogdo, it probably just sent a chill down your spine. You probably immediately tried to hide under your desk from that boogeyman. It is a character in the game Jedi Fallen Order. Ogdo Bogdo was a bit of a meme boss, but pretty difficult. And in Jedi Survivor, the newest game that just came out in the series, Ogdo Bogdo is back. And he comes in two different flavors, and you get to the center of that Tootsie Pop two different fights. So one of them is against Spawn of Ogdo, which is clearly a reference to Ogdo Bogdo, and it's an optional boss fight that I got so fucking tilted at, I eventually made an entire video dedicated to the hardest bosses I've ever fought, and I posted it on my second channel, Moist Charlie Clips, where I went over every single boss I've fought through all of the Souls games, and then including Ogdo to compare them. And it turns out I died more to Spawn of Ogdo than any Souls boss across any of the Souls games. By a wide margin too. I died over 120 times to Spawn of Ogdo, and it took me 2.5 hours to finally pull it off, but I did it. And then there is another optional fight involving Ogdo Bogdo in this game, and this time it's a gangbang. So this time it's a little spit roast between Spawn of Ogdo and Ogdo Bogdo himself, the OG. And this is the fight that locked the streamer in a purgatory, a limbo, for 29 hours, over 1,200 deaths. He spent banging his head against that Ogdo wall. I'm pretty sure he's playing on the highest difficulty. I also played on the highest difficulty, so I absolutely share his pain with this fight. And his struggle became so big that it went viral as an actual news story. So it actually got picked up by mainstream outlets, and the frog became a meme. Samsung even used the frog in one of their Twitter advertisements. That's also a really disturbing picture they used for the frog on the TV there. It looks like those really awful animated like porn games where it's like you won't last 5 seconds in this game. I don't know, that shit's just weird. They could have just used like Crazy Frog or something really. But Ogdo, the frog, became a meme. His channel was blowing up to 60,000 viewers just watching him fight Ogdos here. It was incredible. I, of course, was watching as well once I became aware of the story earlier this afternoon. And he had some very close calls. He was flirting with that W, but sometimes it just wasn't meant to be. It wasn't the destiny, the hand he was dealt. What an absolute heartbreaker. The boss had a single pixel of health left, actually less than 1 HP. Just a single tiny little pube on a bumblebee's bush worth of health there, and just unable to squeak out the dubski. That one almost made me cry because I had the exact same thing happen to me during one of my runs. What should have happened is he should have had a finisher that goes off when the health was a little more than where it left off. You usually have that finisher come up when there's like 2% health left or something, but for some reason it didn't for him, and it didn't for me in one of my runs too, and my reaction is almost identical to his. Where was my finisher? What?
No luck, BD.
Hey, that's alright. Run it back. But even after such tragedy, and with his chat spamming, encouraging him just to let it go, you don't have to prove anything, who cares, you know, it's a stupid boss anyway, fuck it, it's no big deal. Even with all of that mumbo jumbo, he buckled down and his spirit was more willing than ever.
W końcu! W końcu i nareszcie! Póki nie wyskoczy trzecia. Póki nie wyskoczy trzecia.
You love to see that. 29 hours well spent. 1,200 deaths of data collection later, and he pulls it off easily. I'd say damn near first try, honestly. Incredible work. This was a really fun thing to watch. I, of course, didn't watch all of it. I really only caught the tail end of all of it. But man, it must have been such a relief for him to finally be done with that challenge. So a huge congratulations to him and his whole community for sticking by his side through thick and thin and eventually getting that big W. So yeah, I just wanted to share some uplifting news, and this is what I found for the last week or so. So that's really just about it. Oh, also, I did beat Ogdo and Spawn of Ogdo as well. By the way, I just want to make that clear. So I'll just show the clip of me finishing them off as a nice little positive place to end the video. There it is. Alright, that time we got the finisher. Fucking huge. Not bad. Nikocado Avocado has set a new world record for YouTuber response time for drama. This was a pretty impressive speedrun. Within a few hours of my video being up, he had his entire response filmed and then posted this morning. So very impressive speed there. And there's a few things I want to talk about, so let's just go ahead and dive in. First of all, it's entirely in character. It's kind of like in the Suicide Squad movie where Jared Leto was constantly being the Joker, even off-set, so he was sending his co-stars like used condoms and dead pig carcasses. That's kind of what Nikocado Avocado has done. He is constantly playing his character. He has become the Joker of mukbangs. He is never out of character anymore, it seems. So this response is not him being genuine or taking it seriously. It's him playing his character and completely misunderstanding what I was saying in my video. He spends the majority of the 41 minutes of this response video eating, because he does a mukbang during it, and asking, who is this? Who are you? Does anyone know this person? If I had $1 for every time he asked, who is this, I would have enough money to afford 1,500 pizzas and do my own fucking nutty mukbang. I never really understood that perspective of, this person's not famous enough for me to care, therefore everything they say is worthless. He makes it sound like because he doesn't know who I am, everything I've said is completely irrelevant. And it's fine that he doesn't know anything about me. I expect that. I'm a fucking YouTuber. I'm an actual Z-lister, an internet content creator. I don't expect to go into a room and all of a sudden everything goes quiet as people drop champagne glasses that shatter on the floor because they're just blown away by my presence, like, oh my god, do you know who that is? That's Charles White. Did you see his newest video where he was holding a rubber penis and throwing around a fleshlight? Holy shit, that's Charles White. I don't expect that. So I just don't really get why that's like one of the main things he keeps reiterating in this video is he doesn't know who I am. I don't know why that's such a strong point. Like, I don't know who this is. Do you know who this is? This guy's just so fucking, you know, not famous. Gross. Not famous guy. Who is this? But anyway, aside from him constantly mentioning that, there are some things that he does bring up that I think are definitely worth talking about. But first of all, I'd like to say congratulations to Nick. It looks like his broken ribs are healing pretty well because he starts this video by stomping into the room. And I also checked his TikTok. He's been going kind of hard, so it looks like his broken ribs seem to be doing better now.
Shivers. Fiddlesticks! Who is this?
I remember when my mom broke a couple of her ribs, she genuinely couldn't walk for like a month. She was miserable. But luckily, Nick seems to be healing at an accelerated rate. He must be like Wolverine from the X-Men, so that's good to see. In regards to his broken ribs, in his response video, he said I was completely lying and that his broken ribs had nothing to do with weight gain, which surprised me because I actually got that information from one of his recent videos. I'll just go ahead and play you the clip.
And before you make fun of me, please try to put yourself in my shoes. I cracked my ribs. Bitch! Fuck this fucking air sack from coughing excessively for over 2.5 months and my obesity, all 350 pounds of force. Ouch!
I didn't reach into my butthole and pull this out of nowhere. I got the information from him, so I don't understand why in his response video he makes it sound like I'm lying about so many things. Like he himself said his cracked ribs were the result of coughing for the last 2 months and his obesity, 350 pounds of pressure or whatever he said there. I didn't make that claim. I didn't make that up. It came from him, and you can just click on this video and it's right in the intro. So I don't know why he would say something like that in the response video. It also doesn't really sit right to me that in this response video he puts multiple advertisements for like going to his Patreon and stuff like that. It just shows that he doesn't really take any of it seriously. It feels like this response was just made to capitalize off drama clicks. Like, you know, I just feel like he's never serious anymore. It's always in this act, in this character. You know, I might as well plug something too, since I'm responding to it. Make sure you check out my second channel, Huge Charles, where I'm posting short content and exclusive shit over there. The link will be in the description below. That's Huge Charles, baby. But anyway, now to actually talk about the things Nick brings up that I think are very important to talk about. First of all, he talks about the people that went from my video to his to just be assholes. I always openly condemn this, and I should have again said don't go harass him, because it looks like people need a constant fucking reminder to not fucking harass people. You're not some kind of internet vigilante fighting for justice. That angry comment you left on Nick's video isn't going to help him. You're just being a fucking douchebag. And I completely sincerely apologize for overlooking the fact that I need to remind people how to behave online. I always absolutely fucking hate. I've made 2 different videos on how much I hate when people go and harass people, but just from like YouTube videos and shit. It sucks. It fucking sucks. 100%. And Nick is absolutely in the right in calling that out. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's actually get into the fucking meat here and talk about some of the things Nick brings up. It's clear immediately that Nick misunderstood what I was saying in my video. I don't know if that's on purpose just for the sake of having like an aggressive response video for YouTube drama, or if he genuinely didn't understand what I was trying to say, but he makes it clear that he didn't get what I was going for right away.
I don't have the right to exist because I happen to be a little overweight. I'm being attacked for my weight, for my appearance. Apparently, I'm encouraging people to eat unwell. Excuse me!
I don't even understand at all where that last thing came from. I never made any point like that or even hinted at anything like that. I never said like Nikocado Avocado is a role model and he's encouraging people to eat like he does on camera. You know, I never said like, you know, these kids are going to watch Nikocado Avocado and then all of a sudden they're going to be fucking brainwashed by him. They're going to go out there and order 10 large fries and then a gravy to drink out of a toilet bowl. I never said anything like that. I never said that he's setting some kind of example for people to follow. All I was saying is the success he found with mukbangs has reinforced his decision to eat this way. I was also never focusing on his appearance or saying he doesn't have the right to live because he's overweight. I don't know where these are coming from. As far as appearance goes, me showing his 2017 body compared to his most recent one was used to show what the food is doing to him. If he was skinny and eating the way he does on camera, I would have the exact same criticisms. Because even when you're skinny, you can be very unhealthy, which is a point he makes. I wasn't saying skinny is the gold standard. He also brings up some demons from his past that I didn't know about. I didn't get the full extended lore of Nikocado Avocado. I was under the assumption that he was healthier back then because, contrary to what he says in the video, I am very familiar with him. I've watched his content for a while. I've watched the transformation, but apparently I've missed some arcs along the way in his anime. He mentioned back during those days with the photos I showed he had an eating disorder, even mentioned a tooth rotting out, and that he generally didn't feel like he was healthy back then. And I didn't know any of those things. What I saw on camera was him eating healthy food, preaching about healthy food options and lifestyles, as well as fitness and stuff like that. So I was under the impression that he was healthy during those days, but maybe he wasn't. But he's also not healthy now. I'm not Nick's dad. I'm not here to slap the fucking cheeseburgers out of his hand or anything. I showed these photos because it shows a complete transformation from one body type to another, and it shows that there is still an eating disorder present. And I feel like it's reinforced by his audience on YouTube that encourage it, which is something he mentions in his videos from time to time. He says things like, you guys are doing this, and I think he's right. I think seeing those numbers grow and seeing those big numbers has completely reinforced the idea that in order to be successful, he has to keep eating this way, so he feels trapped to do it. That's the point I was making. It is a very unhealthy lifestyle. It doesn't have to do with his weight or his appearance. It has to do with what he's eating on camera and how often he's doing it. Take, for example, Matt Stoney. Matt Stoney will do these incredible food challenges. He'll eat fucking 20,000, 30, 40,000 calorie meals in a single sitting in under an hour for a YouTube video, and they're fucking awesome. That's nuts to butts action. Matt Stoney eating the fuck out of 20 burritos at a time, double fisting 1,000 tacos per hand. It's incredible stuff, and it's so much food and so many calories, but Matt Stoney does that once every few weeks, once a month maybe. Nikocado Avocado is doing something comparable almost every single day. Over the last week or so, he's posted a mukbang every single day pretty much. So he's eating these thousands and thousands of calories every day. It's very different. The frequency is completely different. Or let me rephrase this. It seems like he does it almost every day since he is posting them almost every day. Now, I do know, at least on a few occasions, he's done multiple mukbangs in one day. And that's still a lot. That's still a ton. So the point is, it's very different. I'm not targeting Nikocado Avocado because of his weight or anything. I was talking about him in this whole situation because it feels like his audience has reinforced his eating disorder, which is taking a negative effect on his overall health. If Nikocado Avocado did not find success on YouTube and be known for eating such massive meals, he would not have gained the 200 pounds in 3 or so years. Gaining that much weight in that amount of time is not healthy by anyone's standards, no matter what doctor or what website you check. It is extremely rapid weight gain, and I don't think it would have happened had he not found success with this kind of mukbanging content on YouTube. He would probably not eat like this. And like I said, if he was skinny and still doing this exact content the exact same way, my criticisms would remain exactly the same. It is an unhealthy diet and an unhealthy lifestyle, as evident by the 200 pounds he gained, which is a lot in a short amount of time, and also the amount of times that he is crying on camera and breaking down. It seems like overall, this content has led him down a path where he is unhealthy and unhappy. My focus wasn't, look at Nick and all of this weight he gained, ewy. It was, how has Nick completely transformed over the last 4 years, and what role did his content play in that transformation? He is completely different now mentally and physically than he was 4 years ago. Nowadays, he's known for crying all the time on camera while eating. It's become one of his big things, like a staple in his content. He is constantly breaking down and crying while eating, which seems like he's much more unhappy now. And physically, he's completely different. He requires a mobility scooter now when he goes out in public. You'll see it in his TikToks, you'll see it in his videos. When he is at a store, he requires a mobility scooter. So what I was looking at in my video was how his content and his YouTube success played a role in this transformation.
Making some of the most revolting noises I've heard in quite some time while undergoing some kind of exorcism.
And me. Who are you? I haven't said anything that you're revolting and you're disgusting.
Yeah, I didn't say that about you either, Nick. I was talking about that shtick you do in your videos where you make a yucky noise. That's what I was talking about. And I think you know that, but you tried to use that as a way to spin it like I was calling you revolting and disgusting for your weight or something like that, which I absolutely wasn't. I was talking about that ongoing joke you have where you make noises and faces like that. I was just saying I find that to be off-putting. He calls them a hairball, which is obviously him kidding around, and I just called it gross because I don't really like those noises. And I'm sure he knows what I was talking about here, but just found it to be easy ammunition to make me look really shitty. So he was able to spin it like, look, he's calling me revolting and gross, he's being a big asshole, which I wasn't. I was just talking about that hairball thing that he does. This video is going to be really long if I keep going through every point he makes, to be honest. We're not even like half of the way through the response, so I just want to focus on the next few big things that he brings up that I think are very important to talk about. He says that I am incorrect about like the nurse, like the full-time nurse to take care of him, and that's entirely possible. I've tried to keep up with his videos recently to make sure I get the full story, but for me it is very hard to sit through a full mukbang from him because it's just sad to see. I'll just be straight up honest. It's hard for me to watch all of them, so sometimes I'll go to Twitter to read threads about Nikocado Avocado to be kept up to date, and I recalled reading about a nurse that had to be on standby in order to make sure that he was able to go about his activities. This, he has said, is incorrect, so I do apologize for that. That information that I got there was wrong. 100%, and I'll take full responsibility for being incorrect on that point. Now, one thing he is blatantly wrong about, and I don't know if this is on purpose to make me look bad or something, he keeps saying that I call his viewers fat, or I am constantly talking about him being fat and gross. Two things I've never said anywhere in that video. I never said his viewers are fat or insulting his viewers. I was saying his viewers are enabling him to keep doing some of this content. And that, I stand by 100%. You can even see it on this response video. There were so many comments saying, don't listen to him, and when are you doing your next big mukbang? I love to watch you eat this and that and that. Like, that's enabling. That's the very definition of enabling. It's enabling a bad habit. And it keeps you doing these same things which have had a negative effect on your health. But that's not me all of a sudden saying all your viewers are fat pigs that are gross and yucky, ooh, cooties, yucky, gross pigs in your comments. I never said anything like that. And I don't know why he tries to hint like that. And I think I don't know if it's on purpose or by accident. I think it's supposed to like make his viewers mad at me, like, can you believe what this guy is saying about us? Which I never did. What I was saying about your audience is that they keep you doing these unhealthy things, which they absolutely are. I wasn't calling you gross. I never said any of that. I said that they are keeping you doing this unhealthy kind of content, which you've done for a few years now, which has negatively affected your health. And I'll say it again, because that was the point of the video, and that was the point I was making. It's not all your audience's fault. You are making the conscious decision to continue this content and really focus on those numbers, but they do obviously play a role in it. The next thing he talks about is this machine that he's had in every thumbnail for like the last 2 weeks. He says he's actually had this since he was a kid, and it's nothing new, unrelated to mukbangs and all that. Okay, fair enough. Let's say that's true. Maybe it is. It probably is. I don't see why he'd lie about it. But then why all of a sudden now are you putting it so prominently in every thumbnail and every title talking about being disabled and doing a disabled mukbang? Why are you just now showing this off then? It leads your viewers to believe that the situation's a lot more dire than it is, and you're doing it on purpose. You're trying to garner more sympathy out of the situation by having this machine here. It makes it seem like your health is on a really rapid decline. And I think the reason you're doing that is to get more views on it, because when people see that you're in distress, they want to see what's going on and want to make sure everything's okay. So if you truly have had this machine for that long, why are you all of a sudden now showing it off like this in the context of being disabled? So it's pretty fucked up. And I don't want this video to keep dragging on, so the last thing I'll talk about is the broken ribs thing, the subject of like his disabled mukbangs. As I mentioned, he's been kind of jumping around just fine. In this video, he comes stomping in, jumping around just fine. He's not coughing at all in this video, which he's coughed in all the other ones, and then like cried out in pain, like yelling about how much pain he's in. On TikTok, he's doing just fine, moving around, jumping, stomping. Either way, that whole situation seems to be all honky-dory now, so that's great. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about this. I feel like he completely missed the point of what I was saying with my video. I wasn't trying to call him all kinds of disgusting names or anything like that. I don't even know where he would have gotten that from. Maybe just a complete misunderstanding. I'm not sure, but either way, I still find the entire situation sad. His response didn't change my perspective on everything going on over there. I still think it is all a very sad situation. I feel like if Nikocado Avocado was not a successful YouTuber, he would not be doing these kind of mukbangs or eating this way. I feel like that's only there because of the success he's found with these videos, and his response did not change my perspective on that. It didn't change my opinion on it, and yeah, that's about it. So yeah. How far would you go for some updoots on the internet? How badly do you want to suckle from that juicy teat of internet clout? I've actually started quite a few videos with that exact same question. It seems that today the most important thing to people is the numbers on the screen. Bigger number, better person. Everyone's so desperate to squeeze as much milk as possible from those beautiful honkers of internet points, and no price is too high. We've seen some wacky, goofy shit recently for those internet points. You remember those dudes that went to jail for 3 years on TikTok because they were filming a stop the train prank, where they just sit on the train tracks and hope the train stops in time before they get brutally fucking blasted by it? And then it actually did stop and they went to jail. We also recently saw that kid play the fake robbery prank on some strangers, and he got shot and died for it. His last words were quite literally, "just a prank, bro." At least according to a few sources, that was an extremely sad one. So we've seen some crazy shit. People really will do anything for some internet fame. And today I want to talk about a pretty special case. It's someone that I'm sure you've heard of. I've talked about him before. A lot of people have. He's been a big name on YouTube for a while. His name's Nikocado Avocado. If you're on Twitter, you've probably seen his asshole floating around pretty often. For some reason, it was a big trend in meme to just post Nikocado Avocado's OnlyFans content all over Twitter. So I've seen his butthole more times than I've seen him doing his mukbangs. For those that don't know, Nikocado Avocado is a mukbang YouTuber. It's primarily what he does. Mukbangs are when you just eat on camera, and that's about it. I'm not really here to get into the lore of Nikocado Avocado. There's a ton of videos that do dive into it. I want to talk about what's going on recently with him. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and take my swampy ass out of here for a second and let Nikocado Avocado kind of take it away. This is from his most recent video. This is kind of what his content has become.
I wouldn't have become disabled if it weren't for you people who encouraged these videos. This is the $6, this is the $10. Ouch! My ribs! How many months are we gonna have to endure this pain? Alright, let's go for this. Ooh. This definitely looks cheesier. This one. And I'm allergic to this one too. Oh. But sometimes in life you just want what you can't have. I'm not allowed to have garlic. Or lots of onions. Or durian.
Now, to anyone that's familiar with this creator, you'll probably think that this is nothing special. This just looks like every other video he's ever made, just with less crying. You've probably even seen Nikocado Avocado around other parts of the internet. If you don't even know who he is, you've probably seen some of his clips. He usually will eat something and then just start breaking down into tears and crying about something. He's notorious for constantly crying. So then why did I decide this video and these clips to show you? Well, as you can tell from the title of that video, he now claims to be a disabled person, which I'll get into in a minute, but I want to focus on what he said at the beginning. Outside of making some of the most revolting noises I've heard in quite some time while undergoing some kind of exorcism. He said, "It's your fault for encouraging these videos." Now, he says shit like this pretty often, and it shows me that there's still some self-awareness deep within him somewhere, locked deep away. But that rational side of him he keeps buried, locked in a cage, and still does this content, even knowing better. Even knowing that it's a complete detriment to his overall health and well-being. He continues to do it while still having that small glimmer of self-awareness. He says it's your fault for encouraging it, and he's absolutely right. Nikocado Avocado didn't start as this kind of channel. Even 4 years ago, 2017, so 4 years ago now, he was a very healthy person. He seemed to be pretty mentally, sound. He wasn't breaking down on camera all the time and going wild and crazy from what I remember. He was even extremely good at an instrument. I think it was the violin, if I remember correctly. He was a vegan. He was just preaching some really positive stuff. But then he started to notice that the videos that gained a lot of traction were videos where he was just fucking gluttonous and eating 1,000,000 calories per sitting. So he stuck with it. And now he has a couple of channels where he does this pretty much every day, and it's been like this for the last 4 or so years. This is what he used to look like in 2017, and then when the videos really started to gain traction, he gained over 200 pounds in the last couple of years. And it's absolutely true. It's the audience's fault for this. They created what Nikocado Avocado has become. Obviously, it's not all their fault. He is making the conscious decisions to completely throw away his health and well-being, which has now led to his disability, which he claims to have. Again, Nikocado Avocado is not the most reliable narrator. He makes a lot of shit up sometimes. So, whether or not he actually now has a disability, it's anyone's guess. He claims to have 3 broken ribs, which is attributed to his incredible weight gain. Incredible being the wrong word, really just astonishingly upsetting weight gain that he's been putting on recently. He claims that the weight of his body has now broken a few of his ribs, which now has him bedridden. I think he also claimed to now have to have a full-time nurse in order for him to just engage in day-to-day activities. And he also has been diagnosed with sleep apnea, I believe, which is why you'll see on his most recent thumbnails, he has like that machine hooked up to his nose that makes him look like some kind of like cyborg from the future or something. It seems to really be going downhill quickly for him. People have been saying for the last couple years that Nikocado Avocado is literally killing himself for YouTube views, and it's absolutely true. He is slowly killing himself and documenting the journey the entire time while having an understanding of exactly what he's doing. He's well aware that he is throwing away his health, his well-being, his happiness, for the sake of some YouTube views because his audience continues to eat it up, much like he eats up a million fucking cheeseburgers every couple of days. For almost the last 4 years, almost every day, he has done mukbangs like this, where he's eating 6 pizzas, 8 pizzas. He'll get like fucking McDonald's and he'll order everything off the menu and then ask if they can just tilt the grill over to get a little extra grease in a cup for him to drink on camera. It has been an extremely sad thing to see. He's also been saying for a little while now that he's going to be losing some weight. His weight loss journey has begun, but what ends up happening is for every pound he loses, he gains 10 more. I didn't play much of the video here, but he even mentioned that. He even goes on to say after the "your fault" speech that he started his weight loss and he lost a pound but then gained 3 more because he wanted to please his audience with more videos or something like that. So it's just truly a pretty awful thing to see. As you probably noticed from the screenshot, the last 6 days he's posted a video each day talking about his disability and his new diet with it, and each one he has tons and tons of food from different places, and it's not clickbait. He really eats all of that food. Very rarely does he not finish his plate. He usually finishes it or gets very close to it. Almost nothing goes to waste. It goes right into Nikocado Avocado's guts. And one thing you may have also noticed from that screenshot is his views are high, which is exactly why he does it. Yeah, most of them have more dislikes than likes, but even on the one I showed you, that's still like 4,000 likes, so there are 4,000 people dropping a fat like, leaving an encouraging comment, and he's usually peddling some merch, so the shirts you see him wear, he immediately pins in a comment for you to buy them, and I imagine he sells quite a few shirts. Even the people that get in there just to dislike or just tune in to watch the train wreck, that's more views for him, that's more engagement, that helps him, and that keeps him on this wagon, keeps him going. So overall, it's just a really shitty cycle. And I tune in occasionally just to see if Nikocado Avocado is making any strides in helping himself, because it seems like he really wants to sometimes, and then he goes right back into going to Chick-fil-A to literally eat fucking food off the floor like David Hasselhoff. Like, it's just really sad. Obviously, I'm exaggerating. He doesn't usually visit the restaurants. He just orders it and then eats it from either his bed or his own like table that he sets up for it. When he is out in public, though, he's usually on one of the mobility scooters, and he gets a little crazy out there, because a lot of what his content has become is him making really gross noises and shaking his head around while trying his best to like shake his whole body around to really let you know that he's gained a lot of weight, which I don't know, man. The whole thing is just weird and just sad, and that's all I wanted to talk about. This is just another one of those things where it's like, man, the links people go to for some internet fame, like, it's just upsetting to see. So, I mean, yeah, that's really about it. So, yeah.